Here, the MLP and the crew access tower with the Atlas V vehicle ready to go.
We're going to make the 15-minute once I reach 99.8%.
What, that 15 minutes?
At Complex 41, an upgraded acoustic suppression water system will be used for the first time today. ULA's Ron Fortson gives us a preview.
Hello, I'm Ron Fortson. I'm the Director of Program Management Integration here at ULA. I'm standing here underneath the launch deck where soon we'll have the Atlas V rocket carrying the NRO 101 mission showing up here at the pad. When we launch the rocket, the ignition from that rocket causes a lot of noise. The noise is so loud that it can damage your ears. It's also loud enough that it can damage the payload or a launch vehicle when we launch. So we have to use a water suppression system to help dampen out the acoustics caused from that ignition. The acoustic water suppression system we use here at Launch Ops consists of 3 sections. There's an upper section that's part of the MLP, a lower section, and then there's an exit section that's also part of the system. All 3 of these sections deliver about 2,000 to 3,000 gallons of water per second for a total of about 100,000 gallons. When we light the engines, essentially the system kicks in at T-6 seconds with the lower section starting to spray water. Then the duct section will start to spray water at T-5 seconds, and then 4 seconds after launch, the upper section will start to spray water. It'll continue to spray water for 15 seconds after launch. We made some modifications here to accommodate the Vulcan rocket when it shows up here. So with the modifications we made were to add additional sprayers to the lower section you can see behind me here so that we can further damp out some of the acoustics that are caused by that rocket engine. So we're really looking forward to the upcoming launch here on 101 because it'll be an opportunity to see how this system performs.
Here are more views from Complex 41 as the Atlas V stands ready to go. Prominently featured there on the lower part of the vehicle are 2 of the 3 solid rocket boosters that this vehicle is equipped with. Today's Atlas V will be the first to use solid rocket boosters produced by Northrop Grumman. Let's learn more about the GEM 63 solid rocket booster.
Hi, I'm Taylor DeYoung with Northrop Grumman. Here in our M508 rocket manufacturing facility, we fabricate the nozzles for our graphite epoxy motors. GEM 63 strap-on boosters are solid rocket motors that provide the rocket's initial thrust at ignition and liftoff from the pad. These motors are connected to the outside of the rocket and burn for about 100 seconds before detaching from the launch vehicle. We've been developing and producing these strap-on boosters since the early 1980s, and we've continued to improve and expand upon our GEM motor family ever since. The first strap-on motors used heavy steel cases, but we found a way to make them stronger and lighter with a graphite epoxy winding process. Our early GEM motors successfully flew on hundreds of Delta launches over the years. Today, our GEM 63 motors support ULA's Atlas V launch vehicle. Northrop Grumman is continually evolving its rocket motor products through updated technologies, materials, and processes, and the GEM 63 motor is no exception. We are proud to support ULA and the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office to launch the nation's most critical national security payloads. We're excited to see the GEM motors in flight.
The NRO 101 mission is dedicated to our friend and colleague, Mike Ellis. Let's listen into the dedication.
Today's NROL 101 launch has a dedication on the launch vehicle to Michael Thomas Mike Ellis, who passed away at 60 years of age on 17 September 2020. Mike dedicated more than 35 years of his life to supporting national defense. Mike will be remembered by his colleagues in the NRO for being the driving force behind the design and construction of the Eastern Processing Facility at Cape Canaveral, Florida, the world's premier spacecraft processing facility. The words cemented on NROL 101 read, "In memory of our colleague, friend, and patriot. May he rest in peace."
We often get questions about the various clock displays visible in the Launch Control Center, most notably the T count and L count clocks. T simply stands for time, and L stands for launch. The T count is a scripted time until T0. All of the launch vehicle's countdown events are procedurally sequenced to T time. The L count is the total amount of time until launch, which is the T time plus the built-in holds. Built-in holds are placed at strategic points in the countdown, for instance before cryogenic loading and before the terminal count and liftoff, and are contingency time that the team can use if needed to catch up in the event of a delay in countdown activities. The Atlas mission uses two 15-minute built-in holds for a total of 30 minutes of hold time, which means that the L count starts out 30 minutes longer than the T count. After the first built-in hold, there is only a 15-minute difference between T and L counts, and when we enter the terminal count, the L and T counts are equal. Preparations today took a little bit longer than expected, and so we did borrow some of the time from that final built-in hold for the pre-cryogenic hold, which left us with a 7-minute terminal count hold for today's mission, which we'll be entering very shortly.
LC1AC. Radar brief, the Centaur logs has gas indications.
LD net 1. LD net 1.
LD on 1.
MD net 1.
MD's on 1.
Proceed AC.
Okay, the team reviewed the ARB that was held to discuss this issue. We did today, again, violate the 4% of the TRD. However, the ARB did give justification for up to 8% of O2, 2% H2. We are within those limits, and we recommend proceeding.
LC concurs LD.
LD concurs.
MD.
MD concurs.
LC step 800. All secondary decoms verified on RF link.
Roger.
T-minus 6 minutes.
LC, LD on 1.
Go LD.
Please coordinate a new T0 of 22:32.
Copy 22:32 total.
Good copy. Atlas LO2 at flight level.
Roger. RC LC net 1.
RC.
Please coordinate a new T0 22:32.
Copy 223200 Zulu in work.
T-minus 5 minutes. LC LOX 2.
Go.
Centaur LO2 at flight level.
Roger.
LC to flight control.
Okay, we just heard the launch director direct the launch conductor to set up for a new T0 of 5:32 p.m. Eastern Time. We will make that adjustment when the clocks enter the built-in hold here in just a few moments, about 30 seconds from now.
Roger.
T-minus 4 minutes in holding. This is a programmed 15-minute hold.
LC switch to not ready. ALC, please set for a new T0 of 22:32 Zulu.
Roger.
And the team has now entered that final built-in hold.
Team will be extended.
The ALC will be, assistant launch conductor, will be setting the clocks for the new T0 as directed by the leadership team.
LC, ALC.
Go.
Countdown clock has been set for new T0 of 22:32 Zulu.
Roger.
LCRC1.
Go RC.
Range is approved 2230 Zulu T0.
That was 2232.
That's a good copy.
Fire team, clocks are set. We have an approved T0 of 22:32 Zulu. Currently approaching L-17.
And as you just heard, launch conductor Scott Barney verifying the team is now realigned to the new T0 of 22:32 Zulu time, which equates to 5:32 p.m. Eastern time. That puts us at just over 17 minutes prior to liftoff. The next major milestone will be the terminal count status check, and that'll be occurring in about 10 minutes. As I mentioned earlier, today's launch is ULA's 29th for the NRO. Let's take a look at the huge role the NRO plays in the security of our country.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
We are the agency that made the impossible possible, protected the world, and brought technology to levels undreamt of.
Go Atlas, go Centaur.
The race to space was a series of firsts, and we were there. We were the first to surveil our adversaries from the high ground of space, literally taking technology to new heights, watching our adversaries, guarding against the threat of nuclear war, and providing strategic advantage to our nation. We were the agency no one had heard of, because we worked in total secrecy. But we've stepped out of the shadows, and we are writing the next chapters of American space technology. We are the National Reconnaissance Office, the NRO, the world leader in our tradecraft, collecting top secret imagery and signals from space. Natural disasters threaten thousands of lives. Conflicts displace millions, and adversaries mount threats. We give advance warning, aid in the aftermath, protect our citizens, and safeguard the world. We are the only agency that develops these tools, partnering with the intelligence community, the military, and the best of private industry to drive innovation, We are the leader in space intelligence systems, the NRO. At the heart of it, our people. People who take satellites from idea to orbit, focusing talent and resources, developing, building, launching, operating sophisticated NRO systems that help us maintain global vigilance 24/7, 365. Small sats made possible by miniaturization, reducing costs and expanding possibilities. Large satellites with capabilities designed to answer our toughest national security questions. Pioneering achievements on the ground, where analysts bring it all together. How do we do it? By investing in the latest research and development, using augmentation, automation, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, employing acquisition strategies to encourage competition, enabling us to work with the industry's best and brightest, like-minded people, committed to technology without limits. This is where careers rise to heights unimagined, where you can take your eyes and ears into space. We deliver, under budget and on schedule, meeting and exceeding expectations, to answer questions yet unasked. We develop new technologies every day and put them to use in record time in the high ground of space. No one can match us. The National Reconnaissance Office, the world leader in intelligence gathering. We are the NRO.
LC Fuel 2.
Go Fuel 2.
First step 860, Centaur LH2 at flight level.
Roger.
LC Peony 2.
Go.
Step 760, Centaur LH2 SVV cycle tests are complete.
Roger.
L minus 11 minutes.
All right, team, this is LC on net 1. We are complete to operations for Operation 50, picking up in Operation 60, and working for the clock.
All communications switch to channel 1. All personnel and visitors remain in present position until launch. Maintain operational silence in the LCC.
Terminal count briefing. If a condition exceeds a launch constraint anytime after the terminal count status check, the observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on channel 1, identify the station, and briefly state the reason for the hold. Flight control, perform launch on time verification.
Roger.
OSM, place SRB ignition SNA switch in the enable position. And you're coming through kind of weak on that one.
SRB ignition enabled.
Roger. Blocks 2, verify CISA purge flow, flowing GN2 to the CISA.
Verified.
OSM, verify the FCO, RCO, and OSM hold fire switches are in the pro seat.
In a few moments, Launch Conductor Scott Barney will poll the launch team for the final go to pick up the countdown. 29 engineers and managers are polled for system status and readiness to proceed. This is the final status check for all ATLAS vehicle systems, ground systems, spacecraft, and the U.S. Space Force Eastern Range. The vehicle system readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. Let's listen in as Scott Barney performs the final polling here in about 30 seconds.
LC switch to the ready position. All steps are complete prior to the status check.
L minus 8 minutes.
And my apologies, we are now about 30 seconds away from that final status check occurring.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Respond go, no go. Atlas Systems, propulsion.
Go.
Hydraulics.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
Water.
Go.
Centaur Systems, propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Pasgas.
Go.
Electrical Systems, airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
GCQ net 1.
Go.
Roger. Operation support.
Go.
Com.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Redline monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Op safety manager.
Go.
ULA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief.
Go.
Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Launch director.
Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Mission director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. ALC, verify T0 is set for 2232 Zulu.
Verified.
Polling is complete. The ULA launch team and the NRO mission director are go for launch.
5 minutes, 30
From T-minus 4 minutes until launch, you'll be listening to Scott Barney and his team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure.
spacecraft is
You'll hear the team call out that topping has been secured, followed about a minute later by the call out for transferring the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery power. At T-minus 1:55, the team will command the launch sequencer to start, followed shortly by securing the Centaur liquid hydrogen and Centaur liquid oxygen topping activities. At T-minus 1:40, the team will command the flight control system to launch enable and arm the flight termination system. In the final minute, Atlas tanks will be verified at flight pressures, followed by a verification of Centaur tank pressures. A final status check of Atlas, Centaur, and NRO 101 readiness is conducted at T-minus 25 seconds. At T-minus 3 seconds, the RD-180 engine will roar to life. After liftoff, you'll hear the voice of Rob Kesselman providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Copy. Not it here.
You're on net 1.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
On my mark, the time will be T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark.
The countdown clock has resumed, and we are go for launch at 5:32 p.m. Eastern
Ground
Time.
gyros enabled.
T-minus 3 minutes.
Securing LO2 topping.
Atlas tanks to flight pressure.
250.
FTS internal.
The Atlas tanks are now pressurizing for flight, and the flight termination system is on internal power.
$159.
Vehicle internal.
$155.
Launch sequencer start.
$150.
Securing Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
$140.
Launch enabled.
$137.
FTS armed.
$120.
OCU's armed.
FCS count started.
$115.
Reduce ECS for launch.
Roger.
$110.
Vent valve locked.
T-minus 1 minute.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
The launch vehicle, payload, ground systems, and eastern range are all go for launch.
T-minus 40 seconds.
Stable at step 3.
$28.
ECS reduced for launch.
Roger.
$25.
Status check. Go Atlas.
Go Centaur.
Go NROL 101.
With that call, the NRO 101 mission is ready to launch. T-minus 10,
10,
9,
9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, Atlas ignition, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff to the Atlas NROL 101 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. You are hearing the voice of Rob Kesselman providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Roll maneuver. Party 180 hits on the closed loop engine control. Atlas has now completed its pre-programmed switchover maneuver. Now at 28 seconds into flight, Atlas is 2 miles in altitude, going at 1,200 miles per hour. Party 180 has throttled down slightly as expected. Engine response was good. Party 180 past Mach 1. Engine pump speeds and injector pressure are in family for this thrust level. SRBs look good. RD-180 has throttled back up as planned. Mach 2. Now 70 seconds into flight. Atlas is 10 miles in altitude, 5.9 miles in altitude, 2,100 miles plus. Atlas has passed Mach 3. Standing by for SRB burnout. We have burnout on all 3 SRBs. Standing by for jettison. The RD-180 is now throttling down slightly, and we have jettison on all 3 SRBs.
Okay, all personnel Mat 1, start system securing for Operation 7.
Vehicles now past Mach 5. Approximately 2 minutes remain in the Atlas booster phase of flight. This time, booster tank pressures look good. And booster battery voltages remain in their expected range. RD-180 continues to operate as expected. Centaur reaction control system is now pressurizing to flight level. We are now 3 minutes into flight on the L101 mission. Atlas is now 66 miles in altitude, 125 miles downrange, traveling at 7,500 miles per hour. We're now throttling down in preparation for payload fairing jettison. And we've had successful payload fairing jettison and successful CFLR load deck jettison. Atlas is throttling back up after the separation events. Atlas has reached a 4.6 deceleration limit.
Though they look the same, this evening's Atlas V rocket lifted off with new solid rocket boosters. Program leads Jamie Umshed and Samantha Suarez recently sat down to discuss the new SRBs. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Jamie Umshed. I am the Vehicle Systems Engineer for Vulcan Centaur program at United Launch Alliance. Prior to this role, I was the integration lead for the GEM 63 program. With me today is Samantha Suarez, Systems Engineer and Integrator. Together, we led the integration program for the GEM 63 on Atlas V. NRO L101 will be the first mission to fly those SRBs. Under a strategic partnership, Northrop Grumman was chosen to be the sole provider of solid rocket boosters to United Launch Alliance for our family of rockets. It's a lower cost alternative to the SRBs that have been flying on Atlas V since 2003.
So one of the interesting parts or challenging parts of integrating these motors is you have to be able to swap out the SRB and make sure you're not increasing risk to the Atlas launch vehicle, and additionally that you're meeting system performance requirements. The main thing was setting a really strong requirements foundation, working with our system level teams and ensuring that we flowed system level requirements down to the design requirements and that the supplier built to those. Also understanding with those requirements which ones did have some flexibility so that when we ran into challenges as we were developing these motors, we could react appropriately, and understanding verification of those requirements.
Northrop Grumman would go through incremental design phases for the motors. They started with a system requirements review, then progressed into preliminary and critical design reviews. Every step of the way, our government customer was a partner in that process. Once you get through your design phases, then you get to go do the fun part, test.
So there's a lot of different phases of testing. So you'll have some early on development testing for like proof of concept, and you get into component specific stuff. For the SRB itself, there's 2 major tests, structural and performance. Structural, we did what was called super proof, where you pressurize the case and you apply loads on it and ensure that the case functions as intended when it's under load. Then you have static fire, which is how you validate the performance of the motor. Static fire is unique for solids in that with an SRB, you don't get to fire it before you fly it, so the qual is crucial.
After the flight of L101, we will actually be transitioning the Atlas V over to GEM 63s after 2021. Same year, 2021, we're going to be flying the first Vulcan Centaur, and Vulcan Centaur will use the larger, more powerful variant of the motor, the GEM 63 XL. Flying the GEM 63 first on Atlas gives us an opportunity to have more confidence in that first flight of Vulcan Centaur, and it also allows us to reduce the cost of the Atlas V and make it more competitive in the launch market. I was on the program for 4 years, and I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited.
I am so excited, and I know we're not the only ones. There's a ton of people from ULA, Northrop folks, and the US government that were all key contributors to this program, and I'm definitely ready to see them fly.
My thanks to Rob Kesselman for his participation in today's broadcast. Stay updated with the mission on ULA's live blog at ulalaunch.com or join the conversation on social media. Before we sign off, we'll take you to another look at liftoff, which occurred at 5:32 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Dylan Rice on behalf of the ULA launch team. Thanks for joining us and have a great evening. With that call, the NRO 101 mission is ready to launch. T-minus 10,
10,
9,
9,
8,
8,
7,